Okay, so imagine this. You're in Charleston,
Charles,
South
that's
Carolina, right place, known for its beauty and charm.
beautiful city.
Yeah, you're going about your day, right?
Yeah.
Picking up a sweetgrass basket at the city market
Oh, yeah.
or strolling along the Battery, and then bam, you find out someone wants you dead.
Oh, wow.
That's the reality Nancy Lamb faced as she was going through this really messy divorce.
Oh, geez.
And that's exactly where we're diving in today
Okay.
with episode 2 of Murder in Magnolia.
All right.
Um,
It's twice a story.
it is. It's a jarring contrast, isn't it?
It is.
This idyllic southern backdrop,
Yeah.
and then you have this chilling murder for hire plot.
Yeah, you don't think of those two things together?
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And the episode does such a fantastic job of using that contrast to heighten the sense of unease and suspense,
It really does.
for sure. So we've got a transcripts and the audio from this episode.
Okay.
And trust me, the details are just as shocking as the premise.
All right, I'm ready.
So let's start by unpacking the players in this drama. Nancy and Chris Lamb, they were in the throes of a bitter divorce,
Oh.
and things had gotten downright nasty.
Oh, boy.
What's striking is the level of animosity between them.
Right.
It goes beyond your typical divorce disagreements.
I was going to say, yeah.
They were actively trying to destroy each other's reputations,
Wow.
using public humiliation as a weapon. It really speaks to the deep-seated resentment and desire for revenge that had taken root in their relationship.
Yeah, it sounds very personal.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where things take a dark turn.
Okay.
Nancy's at home, completely unaware of the danger lurking just around the corner.
Right.
Thinking about prom dress fittings,
Mm.
errands,
Yeah.
Everyday mom stuff.
Aaron's.
And suddenly she gets this unexpected visit from the police.
Oh, no.
Imagine being in her shoes. You're going about your day, and then the police show up at your door,
Yeah.
telling you there's a hit out on you.
I can't even imagine.
It's a scenario that would send chills down anyone's spine. And the episode captures Nancy's disbelief and growing fear as the reality of the situation sets in.
Right, because at first you're probably thinking this is a joke.
You'd think it was a prank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, the story introduces us to the would-be hitmen.
Okay.
Aaron Wilkinson and Sammy Yenawine talk about a plot twist.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how the episode weaves these different narratives together.
Right.
We have Nancy's perspective, and then we're introduced to these hitmen, and suddenly the story takes on this whole new level of complexity.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, what are their backstories?
Right.
What brought them to this point?
Yeah, and then of course there's another twist. Wilkinson gets cold feet and confesses to the police.
Wow, he just completely flipped the script.
That's right. He becomes this unexpected informant, leading the police right to a hit packet in his hotel room.
Oh, wow, a hit packet. So they had like a plan all laid out.
Yeah, so I know you've seen this packet.
I-
Can you describe what was in it? What kind of information did they have on Nancy?
Well, it's chilling, to say the least. I mean, it's got maps of Nancy's neighborhood,
Oh, wow.
photos of her, detailed descriptions of her daily routines. It even had information about her children.
Oh, God.
Like they were building a complete profile of her life,
and they were gonna...
all with the intention of taking it away.
Wow. That sends chills down your spine just thinking about it.
Right.
Imagine being Nancy, seeing this packet,
Yeah.
and realizing that someone had been watching her, gathering information about her every move.
Mm-hmm.
It's a violation on so many levels.
Absolutely.
But there was one detail in particular that really stood out to her.
Okay.
Handwriting on one of the documents that she believed belonged to her husband, Chris.
Oh, wow.
That's a pivotal moment in the episode.
Okay.
Nancy's convinced it's Chris's handwriting,
Right.
and it fuels her suspicions that he's behind the plot. And while investigators later determined it wasn't his writing, this discovery underscores the deep distrust and fear that had permeated their relationship.
Of course. Yeah.
It also raises the stakes for the investigators.
Right.
Right. They're not just dealing with a potential murder.
Right.
They're dealing with this web of deceit and betrayal that could have deadly consequences.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So let's bring in the ATF agents assigned to the case.
Okay.
Bobby Callahan and Joe Boyan.
Yeah.
What an unlikely duo.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's almost like they were plucked from different worlds.
Yeah.
Callahan is the new guy by the book, eager to prove himself.
Right.
And then you have Boyan, this grizzled undercover veteran who looks like he'd be more at home at a biker bar than a police station.
I can picture him.
Right. And their contrasting personalities and approaches to the investigation really add another layer of intrigue to the story.
I bet.
Exactly. At first, even Boyan, with all of his experience,
Yeah.
is skeptical of Wilkinson's story.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen his fair share of con artists and false leads.
He's probably seen it all.
But when he lays eyes on that hit packet,
Oh, I bet that changed things.
it all changes.
Yeah.
The level of detail, the meticulous planning, it's impossible to ignore the gravity of the situation.
You can't just brush that aside.
No. They realize they have a credible threat on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And finding Sammy Yenawan, the other hitman,
Right.
becomes their top priority.
Yeah.
And there's another wrinkle. A mysterious woman who was apparently involved in delivering the hit packet.
Oh, another twist.
Right. The episode leaves us hanging on that detail.
Mm.
We know she exists. We know she played a role in this plot.
Yeah.
But her identity remains a mystery.
I hate when that happens.
It's one of the many unanswered questions that keeps you hooked.
Yeah, for sure.
Who is this woman? What's her connection to the case? And most importantly, will the ATF agents be able to track her down before it's too late?
Yeah, they're going to run out of time.
Now, as the agents are scrambling to piece together the puzzle and locate the remaining players in this twisted game, Nancy is trying to wrap her head around the fact that someone wants her dead. The police advise her to stay quiet.
Uh-oh.
But she can't help but reach out to her closest confidant, Kathy Harold. And let me tell you, Kathy is not someone you want to mess with.
Oh, really?
She's a force to be reckoned with,
Oh, God.
armed with a concealed carry permit and a fiercely protective nature.
Wow.
She immediately springs into action, determined to keep Nancy and her daughters safe.
So she's not playing around.
Not at all.
Well,
And as they're talking, the police arrive to whisk Nancy and her younger daughter Maddie off to a safe house.
oh, wow.
The scene of the police station is a mix of chaos and concern.
Okay.
You have Nancy still in shock,
Yeah.
Maddie worried about her prom dress,
Oh, of course, at that age.
and Kathy arriving like a whirlwind, ready to take on anyone who threatens her friends.
She sounds like my kind of gal.
Right. It's a powerful scene that highlights the very real and immediate danger they're facing.
For sure.
But with Maddie safely in Kathy's care, Nancy is still consumed with worry about her older daughter Emily, who is away at college, completely oblivious to the events unfolding back home.
Oh, no. So she's totally out of the loop.
Completely out of the loop, yeah.
Oh, man. That's scary. So now we have Nancy and her daughters tucked away in a safe house,
Right.
surrounded by police protection.
Yeah.
It's a far cry from their normal lives in Charleston, and the reality of the situation is starting to sink in.
It really makes you think about how quickly life can change.
Yeah, in an instant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then comes a pivotal moment in the episode. The police decide to show Nancy the hit packet they found in Wilkinson's room.
Oh, wow.
Talk about facing your worst nightmare head on.
I know.
It's one thing to hear that someone wants you dead, but to actually see the evidence laid out in front of you, the meticulous planning, the details of your life reduced to targets on a page, it must have been utterly terrifying.
It would be chilling.
Yeah, and Nancy immediately zeroes in on a handwritten address,
Okay.
convinced it's her husband's handwriting.
Oh, really?
She's looking for any shred of confirmation, any clue that might explain why this is happening.
Right. She needs answers.
In the midst of such chaos and fear, the human mind craves a sense of order, a reason and explanation.
Of course.
And for Nancy, seeing that handwriting, believing it to be Chris's, would provide a twisted kind of logic to this unthinkable situation.
Would make it almost make sense in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
But as we know, the handwriting later turns out to be a false lead,
Oh, wow.
adding another layer of complexity to the investigation.
So another twist.
Right, and while that particular detail proved to be a dead end, there were other elements of the hit packet that undeniably linked back to Chris,
Oh, okay. Like what?
like the photo of Nancy's car parked in her driveway.
Oh, wow.
She vividly remembers Chris taking their daughter Maddie out to dinner and a show that night,
Right.
and believes he must have taken the picture then.
Oh, no.
It's a chilling realization for Nancy. It suggests that this plot wasn't just some random act of violence, but a carefully orchestrated plan, potentially involving someone she once trusted.
Someone she knew.
And then there's the family photo from the Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah.
Remember, Nancy had given that photo to Chris as part of their divorce proceedings.
Okay.
And now, a portion of it, with Chris and Emily cropped out,
Wow.
is in the hit packet.
That's creepy.
It suggests a level of premeditation that's truly unsettling. And for Nancy, it's a horrifying thought. The realization that Chris must have known Emily wouldn't be home that night, yet her description was still included in the packet.
So he knew she was safe, but still.
Yeah, it's a gut punch. To think that someone who once vowed to love and protect you could be capable of such a callous act, potentially putting your own children in harm's way. And the episode doesn't shy away from the emotional fallout of this discovery.
You can hear it in her voice, I bet.
Oh, yeah?
Just the pain and the betrayal.
You can hear the anguish in Nancy's voice as she recounts this realization. It's a mix of betrayal, fear, and a mother's worst nightmare. She even imagines the worst-case scenario, the hitmen breaking into the house her daughter's caught in the crossfire.
Oh,
It's a stark reminder that this isn't just a story.
yeah, this is real life.
It's someone's life, and the stakes couldn't be higher. And it forces the investigators to shift their focus,
Oh,
recognizing that they need to ensure the safety of not just Nancy, but her daughters as well.
of course. Yeah, their whole family.
The investigation takes on a new urgency with the agents, trying to understand how Chris Lamb, a seemingly respectable banker, could become entangled in such a dark and dangerous scheme.
Right. How did he get to this point?
Right, and then there's the question of the mysterious woman who met Wilkinson and Yenawine at the beach house.
Oh, yeah, we can't forget about her.
She's clearly a key player in this conspiracy, but her identity remains a complete mystery.
Right.
It's one of the many threads that the episode leaves dangling,
Keeps you coming back for more.
keeping the listener engaged and eager for answers. Who is this woman? What's her connection to Chris? And what role did she play in orchestrating this plot?
All good questions.
The episode masterfully balances these personal accounts of fear and uncertainty with the unfolding details of the investigation.
Yeah, it does a really good job.
It's like watching a true crime thriller unfold in real time.
I could see that.
And as the investigation deepens, the episode starts to peel back the layers of this complex case, revealing the darker impulses that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary lives.
It makes you wonder what people are really capable of.
And speaking of those darker impulses, we've talked about the potential for violence and betrayal.
Right.
But what about the motivations behind this plot?
Yeah. Why would someone do this?
What could drive someone to such extremes? Is it revenge greed? Something else entirely?
That's a good question.
It's a question that lingers throughout the episode. We get glimpses into Chris Lamb's character,
Okay.
but the true nature of his involvement remains elusive.
Right.
Did he actually hire the hitman? Or was he manipulated or even framed by someone else?
So many possibilities.
These are the questions that keep us on the edge of our seats.
Yeah.
The episode does a fantastic job of laying out the facts, the evidence, the emotional turmoil, but it leaves us to grapple with the moral complexities and the potential for darkness that exists within us all.
It's a little scary to think about.
It's a thought-provoking and unsettling realization,
It is.
and is what makes this episode so compelling. We're left with this image of Nancy and her daughters, right, living under constant police protection, their lives completely upended by this murder-for-hire plot. And even though the immediate threat seems to be contained, there are still so many unanswered questions just hanging in the air.
Yeah, it's like the calm after a storm, but you can still feel that electricity in the air. And one of the biggest mysteries, of course, is the identity of the woman who delivered the hit packet. The episode doesn't reveal who she is, but it does offer some intriguing hints.
Right, they imply that she doesn't have a criminal background,
Really?
which leads the investigators to believe that she might actually turn herself in.
Oh, wow.
It's a fascinating twist.
Yeah.
Why do you think someone with no prior history of criminal activity would get involved in something like this?
Well, it makes you think about the power of influence, right? Was she manipulated, coerced, or did she have her own reasons, her own motivations that led her down this path?
And then, of course, there's the looming question of Chris Lamb's involvement.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the evidence that points in his direction.
Yeah.
The photo of Nancy's car, the cropped family photo.
Mm.
But how deep does it really go?
Yeah. Is there more to this story?
The episode leaves us hanging on that point. Did he actually orchestrate the whole thing, or was he somehow manipulated, maybe even framed by someone else? It's a real cliffhanger that keeps you guessing.
It really does.
And it speaks to the complexity of the case, right?
Yeah.
We're given pieces of the puzzle, glimpses into the investigation and the lives of those involved. But it's up to us to try and assemble those pieces to make sense of it all.
That's the fun part, though, isn't it?
It is. It's like we're amateur detectives sifting through the clues, trying to separate fact from fiction, and ultimately searching for the truth.
Right. And the truth can be elusive.
Oh, for sure. It can be buried beneath layers of deception hidden in plain sight. Or sometimes it's just too painful to confront.
Yeah.
This episode is a masterclass in true crime storytelling. It draws you in with the personal drama, the shocking details, and the lingering suspense, but it also goes beyond the surface, prompting us to think critically about the motivations, the choices, and the consequences that ripple outward from this one event.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It does. It's a story about betrayal, about the dark side of human nature, and about the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable fear and uncertainty.
Yeah, and it reminds us that even in the most idyllic settings, darkness can lurk. And sometimes the people we think we know best are capable of things we could never imagine.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of murder and Magnolia, be sure to subscribe to our show for more captivating explorations of the stories that matter. We'll continue to bring you in-depth analysis, thought-provoking discussions, and a healthy dose of curiosity as we navigate the twists and turns of the human experience. Until next time, stay curious and keep those critical thinking skills sharp.